The John Cabot House is a house located in Beverly, Massachusetts that is chock full of history and culture. The Cabots were a family of merchants and mariners who first came to Massachusetts from the Channel Islands back in the 17th century. The Cabot family originally lived in Salem, but after the very unfortunate death of her husband, Joseph Cabot, his wife decided to move to Beverly, taking their 8 or possible 9 children with her. This is where the John Cabot House now stands. The John Cabot House was built in 1781 during the time period of the Revolutionary War. It is a beautiful Gregorian-style mansion. This alone is proof that the Cabot family was very wealthy. This type of home was very rare at this point in time, and any family who lived in such a house obviously had some kind of serious money. This was the first brick mansion ever built in Beverly. If you step inside the house, the extreme wealth of the family is also evident through the beautifully carved paneling as well as some Dutch tiles surrounding a fireplace. Andrew and George Cabot also built a few other Gregorian mansions nearby. On top of this, the 3 Cabot brothers, Andrew, George, and John, were very wealthy and well-known privateer owners. A privateer is a privately owned warship that is authorized by the government in times of war. These ships were used to raid and capture enemy ships. The owners of these privateers would get a bounty from the government. In this case, the bounty was money. The Cabot brothers sold the ships they captured, as well as the goods on them, resulting in a great deal of money from the government as a reward. The Cabots had some of the best captains around, sailing their privateers, who managed to capture many enemy ships. Because of this, the Cabots made a huge contribution to war effort. As well as taking a big part in war efforts, the Cabot family was an incredibly influential one in history from a political standpoint. They were die-hard Federalists. They strived for a strong central government, which just so happened to be the exact opposite of what Thomas Jefferson had wanted at the time. Now, speaking in terms of economics, Andrew and John Cabot were the 2 wealthiest merchants of Beverly. They sold dried fish to Spain and to the Caribbean. They also imported many goods that include iron, hemp, sailcloth, and sugar. As they became wealthier, the brothers decided to expand their routes to other countries in Europe, Russia, and Asia. In 1802, the Cabot brothers sold the house to the newly formed Beverly Bank for $5,000. However, the bank leased the southernmost part of the house to the Cabot family for 7 years after this. When the house was turned into Beverly Bank, some minor construction was done to the house, which included adding an exterior door, window, and dry vault to the bank room. The Cabot's partners, Moses Brown and Israel Thorndike, were the first and second presidents of the bank. At the time when the bank first opened, the new republic was trying to resolve its incredibly chaotic and corrupted banking systems. Local banks were allowed to print and circulate their own printed money, which led to much confusion, as well as did the circulation of foreign and counterfeit bills. At the time, the most common coin was the gold Spanish piece of 8, rather than a coin from the U.S. So, to raise capital, the Beverly Bank sold people shares that in total amounted to $80,000. At the time, this was an incredibly large amount of money. The investors in the bank were not only men, but women as well. This was unusual for the time period. All of the investors were within a small network of people who were linked together by either family ties, marriage, or business. The opening of the Beverly Bank was very important in history. It brought many job opportunities for unemployed men. Men that decided they wanted to expand outside of their maritime activities went to the bank to finance their endeavors. This aspect of the bank's opening was very important because the Beverly Bank helped finance the first cotton mill as well as the Essex County Bridge. Many people who invested in the bank invested in these two as well.